again, you beat me here, I think. Oh, oh, my coffee's cold. Ugh. Ugh. Hey, party people. This is going to be the second to last live stream on this channel or ever. I don't know. I don't know. I'm being very melodramatic, but to be dramatical if I decide to be. Hi, Violet Femme. Welcome. And I don't have a topic today, so we're just gonna turn this into an AMA. So y'all ask me whatever you want. Until then, I am going to treat this like a therapy session and tell you all about my MRI yesterday. Okay, so I'm not gonna say the word traumatized because I think that's overused, but it was creepy. Okay, MRI. Good morning, Gabrielle. MRIs are creepy, a lot creepier than I thought it was going to be. I looked online a little bit before my MRI, and I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole. I don't want to freak myself out by learning too much about MRIs. Sound check, everyone. Let me know if you can hear me. And the thing is, I never thought I was claustrophobic before. I've never had a problem in small spaces. But then again, at the same time, I don't think I've ever been in such tight spaces. And like the ceiling of the MRI, it's like a big round tube, not that big. It's about 8 inches from my face. Okay. Hey, whatever that is in centimeters. What, like 2.5? Yeah, like so about 20 centimeters from my face. And honestly, like I have a big head. So that might be why I was so close to the top of the tube. They also did put my head on a pillow. But also, I'm not a huge person. I'm a US size 12. Okay. So I'm not super skinny, but I don't know how like larger people get in there and feel like they're not going to suffocate, you know? Just, I already felt like at some point I had a tiny itch on my face and I couldn't get up. I couldn't move my hands to scratch it. They told me not to move at all. But I was also thinking, like, can I even move my arms to scratch it? Because it's so. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Um, because they were doing imaging of my heart, the MRI, like, I wasn't completely in the tube. My most of my legs were still sticking out of the machine, and I think that is the only reason why I didn't completely freak out and think about how I felt like I was being buried alive. And some people, like I have a friend who's had a couple of MRIs and they're fine, but I really really felt like I was being buried alive. And if I was in the MRI tube up to my feet, I feel like I really would have freaked out. But I was trying, and there was this teeny tiny mark. I don't think it was there on purpose. I think it was like a tiny paint chip or like a little, but it was like the size of a pinhead. And I really like fixated on it, uh, just staring at it and focusing on it. And at some point, I kind of wanted to fall asleep, like kind of just zone out. It's like a defense mechanism for me to just like sleep. But I couldn't because you have to hold your breath in intervals. Like the guy in they give you headphones, and the guy's like, the tech is like, okay, take a deep breath, take a breath and hold it. And you have to like hold it for like anywhere from like 8 to 20 seconds. And then he'll be like, okay, release, breathe normal. And we did that over and over and over again for an hour. So you couldn't just like zone out and, you know, think about other things. You had to like pay attention to the guy giving you instructions on when, because uh, they're trying to take images of your heart, but you can't stop your heart from beating. I mean, the goal is to keep your heart beating as long as possible. So they have you like hold your breath and like hold still as much as possible to get as close to a still image as possible of your heart. And so, yeah, I was doing that for like over and over and over again for an hour. And it was exhausting. I really felt out of it. Um, yeah. And I was like, they don't want you to drink caffeine before the MRI. So I was like, not caffeinated, loopy, kind of dazed, and just really felt like I came out of like a partial coffin situation. Have you ever watched those? Have you ever watched a TV or a movie where somebody hides in one of, those drawers, like when a dead body goes to the morgue and they have those drawers for the dead bodies, and and people end up hiding in there? Like, I don't even know how they do it. I would fully freak out. I would fully freak out. And those drawers are dark. At least the MRI machine was light. Like it's the inside is white. It's lit up. Like, oh, but they do give you, I don't know if everybody does this, but they gave me a ball and they're like, squeeze this if you start feeling uncomfortable. I think that was to like signal, like, get me the hell out of here. But yeah, I hope I never have to do that again. Anyway, so all right. Hello, Space Invader Nick. Hello, Rachel. Happy holidays. Hello, Brianna. Boom roasted. I'm sorry to inform you, I've already consumed your allotted calories for 2026. Yeah, probably. I probably eat a lot. Get out of here. Uh, da, 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 da. Lucky Duck. Hello, hello. Josie says a whole camera crew can fit in them. I don't know what that means. Okay. So that's done and over with. I have Hola, Feliz Navidad, Merry Christmas. Hi, Lori. So I have dismantled my YouTube set. Hi, Slim Pickens. Um, and I have been kind of dismantling my I have been dismantling my studio and turning it from a YouTube studio into a work studio. And so I've been packing up all my camera equipment, and I'll be on bare bones. Like, I'll have one tripod, like two mics, and then of course my phones. And that's it. Like, I'm putting all my teaching materials away. I have a lot of stuff that I use only for teaching, which is like lots of fabric, headers and stuff like that. And just promotional crap, things I do for only my social media content, and putting that all away, putting it in storage. And I I have a fairly large kimono collection. I mean, that's a relative term, right? It's not like I have enough to open a store or anything, but I've been collecting kimono like off and on here and there for years, since the early 2000s. And I've decided to start I've decided to start taking them apart to use the fabric. I am not focused today. I really need to focus today. Somebody asked me a question because. Da, da, da. Okay. John says that's a nice mic. It is a nice mic. It's a Rode Podcaster mic. I really like it. Rachel says I've had tons of CT scans, but never an MRI. Does not sound pleasant at all. It is not pleasant at all. My husband had an MRI done, but he was unconscious at the time. He was sedated the entire time because this was really early on in his accident recovery days. So I think I would have felt better if the tube was bigger, but whatever. Anyway, the Sticky Pickle says, I'm getting a new fursuit for Christmas. Congratulations. Yeazer says, you might want to add a bit of gain. I don't know what that means. What is with the randoms today? I don't really understand people. And I think I'm going to stop myself before I go on a full rant because this is like the accumulation of dealing with trolls on the internet for the past 10 years that I've been on YouTube. I really don't understand some people, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I like people who come on to live streams or people who come into your comments and just, I did tell you guys about the foot fetishist last week, right? Just, again, there's nothing wrong with the foot fetish, but y'all need to leave random strangers out of it. Like I'm never going to make fun of someone for a kink they want to do with consenting adults. But that, just trying to loop unsuspecting sewing teachers into making content for you without realizing they're making content for you is disgusting. People who leave the most entitled demands. Like when I say I welcome video requests, I mean a simple, hey Zoe, can you do a video on blank? And I don't think that is like too much to ask for, like a decent level of politeness. And people just really need to shut the fuck up sometimes. That's how I feel about that. Slim Pickens, do you think you're done with teaching for good? On the internet, maybe. Maybe. I have not taught in person for a really long time. The last time I taught for a university was in 2021. 2020? 2021. But that was online because of COVID. I don't really like teaching online for my subject matter. I know there are many subject matters where it doesn't matter if it's online. I feel like if I was teaching like maybe fashion history where it's really like lecture based and not demo based and I'm not teaching you like a hand skill, like a physical skill, but of course, I'm teaching you critical thinking skills, hopefully, and imparting knowledge and information. And if it was a series more like a lecture class where I'm showing you slides and we're discussing things and we can have an online discussion, that's one thing. But some things like the making of things is really hard to teach online. And not only is it difficult, but it's really not gratifying for me just as a human being. Like I don't get any joy from it because I don't know what is happening on the other side. There is something about the immediacy of sitting down next to a student and showing them a skill and watching them do it with you and having what feels like a physical conversation, except it's really about demonstrating the skill, practicing the skill, and bouncing back and forth, that interaction that I feel like I'm actually teaching someone something Whereas sometimes when I am teaching online, whether it's in a university setting or YouTube or Patreon, it feels a little bit like shouting into the void, and it's exhausting. Shouting into the void is exhausting, which is like another thing on the list of reasons why I need a break from YouTube. I may never come back to YouTube because I am very tired of yelling into the void. And, there's a big difference between the things that I think you need to learn as a fashion design student or aspiring entrepreneur or whatever category. There are things that I think you need to learn versus what YouTube thinks will be exciting for the algorithm. And as a teacher who is actually invested in teaching, it's really hard to reconcile those things. Um, the way a lot of very popular YouTube videos are formatted don't really do fuck all for your actual education, and it makes me crazy. And I have this big wide stubborn streak that refuses to make that kind of content just for clicks, because I know nobody fucking learns anything from those kinds of videos. And all you do is get a snappy jingle. Here are 5 things that I would never do as a fashion designer. It's like, whatever, whatever. Like those things are not universal at all. And that's the thing, though, is like that's why I am going to stay on Patreon, because Patreon does not rely on an algorithm. Uh, my classes are there, but I have an archive of classes there. They're in order, they're numbered so that like you have to, that's the order of the class. You watch lecture 1 and then you watch lecture 2 and then you watch lecture 3, and you do them, and I put them in a specific order for your learning benefit, and not because that's what I felt like teaching that day. Like even my pattern making class, like I started with skirts because I felt that that was the easiest thing to learn to fit. That was the easiest. It's like this kind of the simplest part of the body. Like whoever decided we should start with bodices was a sadist, because what do you mean you're going to take a bunch of people who've never even heard basic pattern making tools, have never picked up a tracing wheel or an awl before, and you're like, okay, let's fit around armholes, around breasts, and nip in the waist and address all these issues and shoulder blades, when like you could learn how to do a skirt first and just think about your waist and hips mostly. Like it's a curved trunk versus like, because a lot of the time we start learning women's wear unless you're doing a menswear focus. And even with menswear, it's like navigating armholes and sleeves and waists and pecs versus shoulder blades. It's like, why would you think that that would be the easiest thing to start with? That's so stupid. Like, there's so many things about the fashion education system that people just do because that's the way that previous generations have done it. It's, I think, just really stupid. Nobody really thinks, like, what would be the easiest way, the best way to get students started on a thing? What would be the best way to impart this education one step at a time so that it really sinks in? And what are some ways to show how you can apply the knowledge to a practical outcome, which would show the students the reason why someone would have to learn a thing? It's like, no, it's like, oh, well, fashion schools always used to do this. Well, you know what? We used to kill all the wrong people for doing absolutely nothing. So should we do that? Should we not vaccinate either? Should we just do all the same things that previous generations did just because they did them? No, there are a lot of stupid, dumb, old practices everywhere. And it's so insane to me that you have an industry that is as rapid paced as fashion, and you have this education system that refuses to, like, I cannot even begin to tell you like how staunchly against my old boss was against like rolling out a sustainability program in our fashion department. I'm like, dude, My guy, first of all, we live in San Francisco. Like, it is in the air. Like, this desire, our hippie desire to take care of the environment, it is in the air here. We've been living, and I know where he lived, like the neighborhood he lived in. I'm like, I know you live with them hippy dippy neighbors too, okay? So the idea that you think you could stick your head in the sand about this and you think it doesn't, just because you don't care to design a certain way doesn't mean that huge sections of the industry don't want to learn these things. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. But whatever. Whatever. But yeah, I'm so tired of fighting the algorithm. I'm so tired of like random just internet people. I would get like, my favorite thing is like people who would send me these emails, and I'm talking long emails where you have to like, I'm like scrolling on my phone, like scroll, scroll, scroll to read the whole thing. And it's just a laundry list of video requests that they need for their own personal fashion education. And they're like, I'm your biggest fan. Okay, thanks, bye. And they always like leave this little note like, I'm totally thinking about buying your book too. And it's like, and maybe that's why I'm never gonna be like on a New York bestseller list, because I just do not grovel like that. Boy, you want to buy my book? Buy my book. Thank you very much. And to everybody who's bought my book, thank you. And I mean that. Anytime anybody writes me a comment, a DM, like just comment directly to me saying, book Zoe, and I thank them. Okay. If I haven't literally commented back, thank you, it's because I haven't seen it. I am grateful for everyone who's bought my book, my sketchbook, my mugs, everything. But you sending me this missive and dangling this, I'll buy your book if you do this for me. No. Bitch, please get out of here. No. That's never going to be a thing. If you want to hire a fashion tutor to teach you these extremely specific things, do that. Okay? But don't waste my freaking time. I cannot. I cannot. People who can't read a search engine, you know what? I used to joke around with people all the time that when I was ready to retire from YouTube, I would just sit down and make the longest video ever, just exposing everybody who's pissed me off over the last 10 years, who screwed me over or tried to screw me over and like left me in the lurch, and designers who suck. I'm going to stop there because I don't want to get sued. But honestly, just I've been able to do it for so long because I've had such supportive people following me and supportive students here on Patreon and everything. And I do have a deep gratitude when it comes to teaching and when I can engage with someone and feel like I'm really getting through to them. But, you know, I initially fell in love with teaching because one of the things that I loved was watching a student's progress. One of the things I used to do in my advanced illustration class was on the very first day, I would have them draw. I'm like, draw me your best fashion illustration. Just a person wearing clothes. And I don't care what kind of clothes. This is not a design class. And I don't care what kind of design you like to design. But give me a person wearing clothes, because we're all design majors in here and we need to learn how to draw clothes on bodies. And so whatever medium they wanted to use, whatever clothing they wanted to design, a person wearing clothes. Okay. First day. And I was going to give you 20 minutes to do it. And then I would keep all those sketches from the beginning, from the first day. And then on the last day, on finals, they would turn in their final project. And their final project was always just like 5 to 7 figures, wearing clothes, of course, but showing as many of the rendering techniques that I had, that they were supposed to have learned over the course of the semester. And these collections always looked hilarious because they weren't design collections. They were not meant to look like design collections. So, you know, you had somebody, and I was like, you know, You get more points the more techniques you can cram into your project. And so you would have someone wearing like a houndstooth blouse with a speckled tweed pencil skirt with alligator boots and a fuzzy knit angora muffler and and fishnet tights because that's showing all the techniques, right? So, the illustrations were hilarious, but like very technically very good. And I would put their first day sketch next to them so that people would see how much they progressed. And people would lose their minds. I literally, and I still remember the student, we still follow each other on Instagram. Literally, this girl was like, Zoe, this is not mine. I'm like, girl, those are your initials right there. And I pointed right at the bottom of the page. She's like, and then she flipped it over so fast. She was like, oh my God. And I missed that. Um, that was so fun. But I went to my alma mater and I was just kind of like dropping little hints that I might want to return back to teaching in person and just kind of seeing what their illustration curriculum was all about. And um, they do everything in Procreate. They don't do anything by hand. And I was like, oh, okay. And I guess I could learn Procreate. But like the way they use illustration, the way they do things, it's really different now. And I don't know. Whatever. It's just like, It's like, okay, maybe I don't want to. At some point, like there are a lot of teaching goals that I had when I started YouTube that I never got to achieve. And I'm not blaming anybody for that. That's just a failure on my part. But, you know, I always wanted to do, I always wanted to be invited by a fashion school to teach a workshop. I thought that would have been so cool to be invited by a fashion school and be like, hey, can you teach this intensive or teach a term or something like as a visiting lecturer? But turns out most people just want to watch my free content online and not pay me for anything. And they think that all my content is online and that I have nothing else to offer. Most of you, or some of you, know that I'm a big fan of Andrea Chong, who makes a lot of videos on TikTok on how to ascertain quality in clothes when you're shopping. She goes shopping and she shows like, look at this stitching, look at this lining, look at this fiber content, look, and she goes over what is good quality. I think her content is really spot on if you are looking for that kind of video content. And like she wrote a book and she was working on a book deal and a publisher dropped her because they said that she shares too much online. And she had made this video. She was very upset, of course, understandably upset, saying, but I have so much more to share than I share on my videos. I have so much more that's not video content friendly, but that could work really well in a book. I have so much more to share. And I felt that. I felt that really deep in my soul because I feel that all the time, that there's so much that I want to impart that does not fit in the video format of the platform that she is most popular on, that she wants to put in a book or in some other format. Luckily, another publisher did scoop her up and publish her book, and I do have it, and I'm very happy for her. I hope she got the sales she wanted and everything. But yeah, when she first announced that her first publisher dropped her because of that, or the deal didn't go through, not that they dropped her or anything, but I was like, yeah, no, I feel that. Um, I also wanted to do like, I wanted to do like a workshop for a week somewhere where I did a very crazy, intense, like very advanced design class, like have you heard of those boot camp classes where you go off in the wilderness and you train your body like in a completely insane level? I wanted to do that for design. I wanted to take people somewhere like in a cabin or something and just put them through like a very intense design class, like a very short term but really intense, and just have them come out with like a finished class. Someone who's already done a design project before, so I didn't have to like hold their hand through all the paces. But I don't know. I couldn't make that happen. I actually when I had made up my mind to uh take my sabbatical year, somebody did uh reach out to me asking me if I wanted to host a trip, but it wouldn't be like a workshop, but it would be a trip. Like they're like, "Do your followers want to travel with you?" And I'm like, "Oh my god. How fun would it be for me to like put a trip together where we go to some museums, where we do some workshops?" There's this program that this company does where they partner with hotels and they book them during their off season. So the benefit for the hotel is to get bookings during their off season, and the benefit for the travel company is they would have the hotel at a reduced rate for a content creator to teach some kind of workshop for 10 days. The hotel would have to have some sort of like conference room, ballroom, workshop space, and so that the content creator could host. And from what I've seen, they've like hosted watercolor classes or simple sewing classes. And then they also have like day outings to museums and stuff. I kind of wanted to do something like this, but yeah, they turned me down. They rejected me. So they didn't want to work with me. I was like, cool, okay. They're like, we're full. I was like, okay, thanks. So yeah, there are a lot of things I haven't done yet, and I don't think that they'll ever happen. And I don't know how to make those things happen. I think at some point I should have gotten a manager or an agent, but I never got an offer from anybody who wasn't an MCN, a multi-channel network, and they are not good. Uh, so yeah, I don't think I'm very good at this content creation game because here are some things about me. I am more concerned with the content of my teaching than a viral moment. I hate doing rage bait or correction bait. I don't like making content that is clickbaity, that is trendy. I'm not going to be doing any TikTok dances just to get attention to my stuff. I am an old school teacher. I'm not a very good content creator because I don't partner with every brand that comes down the block, so that I can show their stuff and make a bunch of money off of that. Like I sell very few things. I've had 3 brand partnerships my entire 10 years. I sell my books, I sell my sketchbook, I sell my mugs because drinking too much coffee is my brand. So many people have asked for some dumb t-shirt. I'm so against making a dumb t-shirt. Y'all know this. So I've never made a dumb t-shirt. Um, what else do I sell? Classes. Like join me on Patreon. We do movie club, we do book club. Like that's all I've ever sold. I've I have my Amazon affiliate link. That I tell people not to use all the time. Like I tell people like Amazon's whatever, just like take the information and buy it somewhere else. Like I am the worst content creator. I am aware of how much more money I would have made over the course of my career if I didn't have ethics. Like, and I know like a lot of people, they're like, what's the big deal? Make your money, get out. You know what? You want to make your money, go do your thing. I just, whatever. I just can't be someone who's constantly telling people buy this, buy that, and like I think it sealed my fate when I was first in the very beginning being like, I don't care what art supplies you use, just start practicing. Like every other teacher, they're like, use this brand, this brand. And I have my preferences. Okay. I have my preferences, but those preferences are overblown. Like, just like practicing with some bullshit supplies is always going to be more important than just making sure that you save enough money for the Caran d'Ache luminance pencils just because I love them. And I do love them. Have I spent most of my career using Prismacolors? Yes, because whatever. Like, when I was a junior, this guy I was seeing bought me the 144 color set of Prismacolors, which was like $1 billion at the time. So it was a big deal. And so I used those for ages, whatever. And they're good. Like, if Prismacolor wanted to team up with me right now, I'd be like, yes, because I actually like their product. Like, whatever. It's like moving on. So there are a lot of things that I am a failure at in terms of content creation. So I don't know if I want to come back to this. It may turn out that this is the only thing I'm remotely good at. Or even enjoy. Because, listen, everyone loves to shit on their job sometimes, but I wouldn't have done this for 10 years if I didn't enjoy it. For most of it, like, I could sit here and talk a lot of smack about what this job entails, but I wouldn't have done it if I didn't enjoy it. Okay. I enjoy meeting people online, the ones who really want to get serious about learning and trying and improving their skill set and building community with the people I've met on Patreon. And like, I appreciate the messages I get from people saying, "Oh, you helped me through this last year of college." I even appreciate the messages where people are like, "You helped me figure out that I don't want to do this." Like, I love those messages too. I think it's great. So yeah, but like, I need to take a break. I need to take a break because they're just. And if I do come back to content creation, I need to figure out a different way of doing things because the way I've been doing things is not working. Whoever I need to hire, you know. And I would have liked to transition to TV. Like, I was kind of transitioning to TV when COVID hit. I had some projects with some NBC affiliates happening right around COVID. And of course, they all fell apart because of COVID. And so that was super fun. So, and then like my main contact in a TV sense, he was my showrunner on Doodle Wars. Like, he would work with me again, but he mostly does cooking programs. So, yeah, I don't know. I adore him and I would love to work with him again. Like, working on Doodle Wars with him was so great, mostly because he made it so. I mean, everybody was great. I take that back. It's not like the crew was great, the setting was great. Like, we weren't allowed to run the air conditioner in the middle of a New York summer the first day we were filming, but we still just trucked on and it was still great. And he was great and I would work with him again. But yeah, he just does cooking shows. So what am I going to do? Anyway, so yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the doctor a lot. I'm going to try to figure out if I could find a way to make these chest pains maybe not go away, but not show up so often. And I have some other stuff that I'm really not going to bore you with, other health stuff, and take some vacations where I don't take my laptop somewhere. I'm going to explore some design opportunities. Maybe I'll just return to teaching in person. and just not come back to the internet at all. Um, or retire. Or retire. Okay. I know I missed a bunch of comments and questions. So, oh my God, I missed a lot. What the heck? You might want to add a little bit of gain. A gain is a boost in volume to the mic. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Is that like a mechanical attachment that you add? Is it a software? I don't know. Like I am not a equipment person. See, I'm not even that good at that part of content creation. Slim Pickens, do you think you're done with teaching for good? I don't know. Lori, can I design something for you to wear? It would be black and match your party. Thank you, but no. Spend your energy on something else. Rachel, I can't think of any particularly interesting questions to ask except maybe wondering if you have any cool plans for the new year. In terms of 2026 or in terms of like New Year's Eve? Because New Year's, I do old school Korean traditional New Year's Eve, New Year's celebrations where we eat rice cake soup and clean the house. And Koreans eat rice cake soup because everyone thinks that we eat white rice cakes because it's clean and pure and we have like clean, fresh beginnings in the new year, but that's not it at all. Okay. If you look at the rice cakes used in rice cake soups, they're like flat ovals. Okay. They're not cut the long tubes like you see in tteokbokki, but they are the flat ovals and they're supposed to resemble coins. You're eating money. The New Year's soup is to symbolize you getting rich in the new year. And so, like I always tease my husband, like, eat your coins so you get rich this year. So we eat rice cake soup. Yeah, you can Google Korean rice cake soup for like pictures of that soup, and you'll see they look like coins a little bit. In terms of what I want to do for the new year, okay, so here's a plan I had, but I don't know how solid it's gonna be because these things come and go in my brain. But I was thinking about this while I was being buried alive in the MRI tube yesterday. So the Kingpins show is April 15th through the 16th in Amsterdam. And then those of you who have been attending a lot of my live streams know Janine. Janine leaves the epic essay long comments on this channel's videos, and she always asks me interesting questions and stuff. And we've done entire live streams devoted to questions that she's asked in the comment section. Love Janine and all her super long comments. And she sent me a link to a shoemaking course that she was kind of looking at. And I think she said she had taken an online course with them. And they're based in London. And for those of you who don't know, I'm thinking about starting a shoe brand. And they are one of their 3-day shoemaking basics classes is April 7th through the 9th. So what if I flew to London, took the shoemaking course? At the time, the V&A will be hosting a Schiaparelli retrospective at the V&A. Okay. It opens March 28th. So I could go to the shoemaking course. I can go see the Schiaparelli exhibit at the V&A, take Eurostar to Paris, go to a bunch of different exhibits that are going on this spring that I have had bookmarked in my like travel folder for this year. And then hop the Eurostar again to Amsterdam to attend Kingpins, which is the denim trade show, like the cool cats denim trade show, and attend Kingpins in Amsterdam. run around Amsterdam. My husband and I were supposed to go to Amsterdam. We had a trip planned to Amsterdam uh, before his accident that I had to postpone. So go to Amsterdam, run around, eat stroopwafel, and then Eurostar back to London and fly home. And that would be about like a 10 to 12 day trip, depending on how much time we wanted to spend in Amsterdam. There's this noodle shop in Paris. I know, like people usually go to Paris for like bread, pastries, macaron, whatever. No, there's this Chinese noodle shop in Paris that my husband and I still think about. They do this, I forget what it's called, but they do this thing. It's a Biang Biang noodle shop, and they just do their kind of like marketing gimmick is it's one noodle. It's one super long noodle, and then of course it's just like in a bowl, but it's like one endlessly long noodle, but it's actually delicious. That's the key. Okay, like if it was just like one gimmicky one long noodle but it wasn't good, it's like who cares, right? But it's actually freaking delicious. And they also do a yangpi noodle, which is like a cold noodle dish that I really love, and that is the best meal we ever had in Paris. And yeah, we had the escargot, we had the different kinds of steak, and then we had lots of, baguettes and cheese and butter, and we always buy butter to bring home. I know. But the best meal we had in Paris was that Chinese noodle shop. I think it's in the 11th, I think. But yeah, like so that's a trip we're considering taking, but right now I can't walk like more than 3 blocks without my chest hurting, so we might have to wait. Gabrielle says, I saw a fashion design academy that was 100% online. I was tempted, but there are too many unanswered questions. There are a lot of online programs. Like the university I taught at, they had a completely online program. They asked me to write and video record all the demos for their advanced illustration class, the class that I was teaching in person or one of them. And that was like actually the push that made me think I could do the YouTube thing, because that is such a huge school that they have a TV program. And so they have all these TV sets in one of the campus buildings downtown. And so I went over there and I recorded, God, like 50, 60 something demos of, illustrating alligator and drawing skirts and all this stuff. Except I didn't have to do any of the technical stuff. Like there were camera guys and they did all the editing and everything. But I did all those demos in one take, except one where I was doing, I kept stumbling on the word sternocleidomastoid on video, which I'm clearly over now. But at the time I kept stuttering and I'm like, can we start over? Because I keep this word. And they were like, fine. But they were so happy. They're like so impressed that I did every single demo in one take. And so I was like, I could do this on YouTube. Like that was like I'd been thinking about YouTube, and my sister, she's the one who originally gave me the idea to be on YouTube. But after I did all those demos for the online class for school, I was like, yeah, I could do this. But so there are legitimate schools. I'm not saying that they're not legitimate. It's just from my experience talking to other people and my own personal experience teaching it, it's not the best way to learn physical skills like sewing, pattern making. Like maybe if you're doing digital pattern making, but yeah, there's nothing like showing someone literally next to them and me being like, okay, you next. Like the way I teach drawing, I would set the model up with something. My students would start drawing in class. Like I would demo first, and then I would set the students to do the thing I demoed so that I could see that they were on the right track with the technique. And then I would walk around the classroom to see, how they were doing. And I would literally correct and make adjustments and stuff as they're working. And then they're adjusting and learning as they're drawing in front of me. And then their homework would turn out that much better because I'm sitting there literally adjusting their drawings as they're learning. And how are you supposed to do that online. Like, I don't know. Like, someone did ask me, this lovely person, absolutely lovely person that I interact with on LinkedIn, they asked me if I would be willing to teach an online class. And I'm like, I just don't feel great about teaching online this kind of physical skill anymore. And so if our paths cross that I could teach in person, I would love to do it. But I'm just thinking about teaching it online is like draining. Like, whatever. Anna says, I would love to do an on-site, out in the field class lecture led by Zoe once per month or quarterly. I'd pay to learn and have an experience. Los Angeles isn't Paris, but LA is a great city. LA is a great city. LA is a great city. I don't know if I ever mentioned this before, but like when I was walking around Paris, you know, people have all these like really grandiose ideas of what Paris is. And there are a lot of truly amazing things about Paris. And there are also just some truly mediocre, regular things about Paris. And there is, you know. And I told my husband I wanted to do a blog where I just take pictures of parts of Paris, and every single caption would be, and this is also Paris. Because it's just regular stuff. It's like, y'all need to calm down. There are people who travel to Paris and they are so disappointed because they had Paris like really blown up in their minds as this like truly otherworldly experience. I've seen this kind of thing happen on TikTok and on Reddit. And you know, because usually before I travel, like before I do like a big trip somewhere, I will join the Reddit group for traveling to that place so I can learn different things. Yeah, people have these kinds of experiences about Paris in particular. And I just want to start a blog that's like, here's this store. It's like, it's a pawn shop. You would think that a place as glamorous and wondrous as Paris would be too good for a pawn shop. But it's like a dusty, musty, regular pawn shop. And I'm like, yeah, this is also Paris. You know what Paris loves? That was a surprise to me. Escape rooms. I saw so many like just driving by, walking by. I saw so many escape rooms in Paris. Like what is it with Paris and escape rooms? And you know what Paris also loves? A poke bowl. Like you can find a poke bowl in every arrondissement in Paris. Like what is it with Parisians and poke bowls? I don't know. Rachel, I have a lot of respect for how much online content you've produced as a teacher. I know I could never do it. I'm so appreciative that you've made so much amazing content over the years. Thanks. I don't actually think I've like put out that much content. I know there are people who are who put out a lot more. It just feels like I made a lot more because my stuff is long. But like I look at people who do like Vlogmas, where they put out a video, like a vlog style video every single day in December, and I'm like, I could never. It's crazy. Lori says, my ear is in the void. Ha ha. I have learned so much from you. Anna, also, I learned well from Zoe. Simple to the point, avoids the unnecessary stuff that can confuse. Thank you. Slim Pickens says, your content is so valuable. I've learned so much. Thank you. Rachel, I'm definitely planning on becoming a paid Patreon member at some point. Right now, I'm a lurker on the freebie level. Ha ha. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I do have a freebie level on Patreon, and I do occasionally share free content like resources that I find interesting, links to news articles that I think everyone should know that is going on in fashion. Sometimes I'll come across a podcast episode that I think pertains. The December monthly meetup, I made it available to my freebie tier as a Christmas present. So that was fun. So I do have free stuff on there. Rachel, I'd be kind of sad if you left YouTube, but I 100% support you. If you decide to leave, you should prioritize yourself and your own real life over internet stuff that you don't enjoy. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing is you're never going to find a job you don't complain about. That's just the reality. Like anybody who says that, like, people work their dream jobs all the time, and YouTube for a while was my dream job. And but there's always going to be some random stuff. And I think I'm just really exhausted because of my health problems and because I haven't taken a proper vacation without my laptop in 10 years. And maybe it's going to turn out that once I get like a proper rest and get my health in order, then I'm going to want to come back to this. I just don't know. That's why I literally am like, cannot commit to anything. Like, do I want to make shoes? I think I talked about my shoe line idea in the last live stream. Hi, Freddie. Hi, Nick. Rachel. Oh my God, I have the same reaction when I see any of my really early sewing projects, massive white stitches on crimson trim. In my defense, I was about 12, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's fun to visit those early projects just so you can show yourself how much you've progressed. I have a couple of videos on the main channel where I took really old work that I did like in college. One was in high school. I think I included that in my book, like an old sketch of a Versace dress that I did in high school, and then I redid it during YouTube as a demonstration of how far we can come when we practice. So Anna says we could spend a lifetime studying one designer and never learn enough. How can someone in a field who shares online possibly share all that knowledge, all their knowledge? That's very sad. Anna, yes, we want to travel with you. Are you Chinese? No. Freddie, I would love to travel with you. Anna, start your own. Check out Laura Caldwell. She is a reseller, started small. She now hosts trips for others. Very cool progress in her business. I have a friend. So back in 2016, a lot of you know already that I attended an indigo textile workshop in Japan in the middle of the mountains, and I befriended the teacher, and we're still friends. When I went to Japan with my husband last year, I went to go visit him in his house and we hung out, and he had installed a pizza oven in his backyard. He was very excited to make pizzas with me, and like he was showing me all the improvements he made to the house, and he's still doing those workshops. And years ago, we kind of tossed around this idea of teaching a workshop together, because the indigo workshops themselves, they're not very fashion focused. He can do groups that are more fashion focused, but sometimes he'll have a group that's more into quilting. He'll have a group that's more into weaving fabrics, which he's also a weaver and has several looms in his house. And sometimes he'll have a group that's more into paper making. Like he has all these like more focus groups, and then there's just groups that are more just general, like beginner indigo knowledge groups, where they don't have like a specific like, oh, we are all quilters sort of situation. And the group that I went with first was a very fashion group because it was co-organized by one of my former design teachers from my alma mater, from my fashion school that I attended. And so we had been playing around with this idea, just kind of loosely throwing ideas around on co-hosting a more fashion-centric indigo workshop together. And maybe we need to revisit that again because, kind of COVID got in the way and he had to restructure his classes. There was a couple years where he couldn't teach because everything he does is in person and travel-based because people travel from all over the world to attend his workshops in Japan. So I don't know. Maybe. I just have a lot of ideas right now. Rachel says, I'm in the wrong hemisphere to attend any type of workshop you do. But it would be amazing to learn from you in person. Doing stuff face to face is where the real creative magic happens. There's the thing, though, is it's not just about, when I was talking before about how I would sit with the student and they would draw and I would correct and we would go back and forth. There's like a interaction that happens, a level of understanding. Like if a student isn't getting it, like I can get it from their body language, from the way they look at me, from the way they look back on their paper. Like I could just tell. And then I adjust tactics. I explain in a different way and we have a whole interaction like that. And you just can't do that online. You just can't. And so it just is not as good of a learning experience. And I will die on that hill. Like learning online for certain things like physical skills is harder, period. And teaching it is also harder, period. Just is. You know, it's like you don't get that interaction. You don't get the when they're still like, and then you just kind of say it in a different way. And I think that's also part of why I'm so long winded. Like, if you watch my videos, you'll often hear me explain a concept like 3 ways, but they're 3 slightly different worded ways because people receive information in slightly different ways. And a lot of the time, people only catch the one that actually makes sense to them. And that's okay. You know, we're all different kinds of learners. And I know that if you work in fashion, you are typically a visual learner. But even in that respect, there are different ways to receive information visually. So, Freddie, we know not to buy from the Apple store. Like if you see on my Patreon where I'm like, don't buy Patreon stuff from the Apple store. Don't start your Patreon membership from the Apple store. That's like how I start every single tier listing because Apple takes 30% cut. They raise the price 30%. So if my tier is like $8 for a month, they'll add on $30% and charge you, and they'll eat that 30%. I don't see any of it. But if you get on a desktop and just order from the website and sign up for my $8 tier, it'll cost you $8. So whatever the currency equivalent is. So yeah, don't buy from the Apple store. There goes my Apple partnership, whatever. I talk so much crap about Apple, which is ridiculous because I use Apple products. I have an iPad, I have an iPhone, I have a MacBook. What is this? It's not the Air. It's a MacBook. But when they do stupid stuff, I just like the Pocket. Y'all see that Pocket where you're supposed to carry around your phone in the Apple Pocket, the so-called collaboration with Issey Miyake. If Issey Miyake the man saw that stupid, hideous thing, I think he'd roll over in his grave. It's so ugly. It's so purposeless. And it's so against like so much of what Issey Miyake stood for as a designer. Like, ew. Ew. Nisi says, I love the type of content creator you are. So refreshing. Thank you. Rachel, I really appreciate that you don't prioritize getting your bag above everything else. It's super rare to find content creators with the firm ethical stance. Yeah, like whenever, like, I mean, like I love watching beauty content, but it's like up to a certain point, it's like, oh, how much did you get paid for that review? You know, there's some stuff that's like, oh, I know that's not going to work for me because I don't have dry skin, blah, blah, blah. And then there's some stuff where I'm like, girl, I know you're lying. I tried that and I know you're lying. Get out of here. RC, what kind of content do you make? I don't know, just stuff, useless stuff. Maya Goya, why do you think content creation is not working? I think content creation, the bubble is gonna burst. People keep saying that short form content is dying and that people are gonna return to long form content. I would love to see that happen. I would love to see me coming back to YouTube in 2027 where people are back to long form content. But whatever. Like my heyday was like maybe the first 5 years of YouTube, where actual like educational content was being pushed and it wasn't just all like everything was trying to compete with TikTok. Right now, everything is trying to compete with TikTok, YouTube included. And so everything is about snappy, 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 meme, and like really short. Whereas TikTok is doing longer and longer video. The whole thing is stupid. And I'm waiting for this whole content creation bubble to kind of just, and I'm just going to be on Patreon because fuck the algorithm. Come find me on Patreon because I'm tired of fighting the algorithm. I don't, everything is about discoverability and the explore tab and all this stuff, which is great for TikTok. The thing about TikTok is the way they do it right, which I don't know why Instagram doesn't get this, but whatever. I hate Instagram so much. Like TikTok has a For You page tab and they have a following tab where you can just very easily, literally with the press of a button, just watch videos from the people you are following. Instagram, your feed is just whatever they want to feed you. And it's stupid. And they do that because they want you to follow more and more other people. And they do that so that they can promote the creators that they want to promote. And it's stupid where people think, some people, when I announce my sabbatical, there are going to be people who think I've already been on sabbatical because they have not seen any of my content in so long because of the algorithm. There are people who are like, oh my God, are you still on YouTube? Like randomly, like over the years, not just this year where I have been, posting very sporadically. Ugh. But yeah, I'm so tired of fighting the algorithm. It's not even worth it. Freddie says, hire someone to do the merchandise and click big videos. Make that money. No, it's not about whether I want to do it. It's about whether I want even my name to be associated with that kind of content. I just don't. Mr. Noise Guy says Freddy Krueger shirt. I can see that. I really like this dress, but yeah, I can see it. And Jackie, I have a shoemaking course on my wish list, but I need to learn other skills for my next career first. Freddie, I would pay you to do a shoemaking course. I got big feet. No, I'm not learning how to make shoes so I can teach people. I want to start a shoe brand. And just taking a 3-day course on shoemaking is not going to prepare me enough to start teaching it. I have more respect for shoe designers than that. But yeah. Like there are schools that teach, there's a school, I think in Milan, that teaches like a 1-month footwear design class. I think there's also like a slightly longer one than that. But I'm very reluctant to go to Italy because of all the stories I've heard of Italians being super racist to Asian tourists. So, yeah, it's one of those things. Like a black girlfriend and I, the two of us, were talking about different places we wanted to travel to, and we both were kind of like, the whole Italy thing, like it sounds really great. And of course there are lovely things about Italy, this, that, and the other that we've heard, but we've also both were talking about how we've heard like so many stories about largely Asian and black tourists, but basically any not white tourists in Italy having a hard time with people being racist and obnoxious. And so it's kind of like, like there's always that. Because let me tell you, I follow a lot of travel content because I want to travel more. And, when black women consistently list Italy as one of the countries they would never revisit because of how unsafe they felt, like, I take that seriously. I'm like, I don't really. And I'm obviously not going to Finland ever. Not that Finland was like particularly in a priority list. Although I love snow, so whatever. But Yeah. Have you guys heard of the whole Finland thing where Miss Finland was doing chinky eyes on camera? Which, whatever, one person doing chinky eyes is one person doing chinky eyes, but then like a bunch of Finn, Finnish, whatever, I don't care. They don't respect us, so I don't respect them. Politicians were also doing chinky eyes on camera, like in solidarity or some shit, saying it's not a big deal and we're just a face or whatever. But now it's a diplomatic deal because like Japan is really pissed off, and I think, I mean, the embassy is in an uproar, and I think that Finnish Air had some deal with Japan. Like, it's a whole thing. It's an international thing. And, it's a little bit like family. Like, Korea is a country, not individual Koreans versus individual Japanese, but Korea is a country. Does not like Japan very much because of the colonization and the history and the war and the torturing and the. Okay. But if you are being racist against one East Asian country, you think we're going to side with you? No. No. Okay. No. That's no. So, yeah, not visiting Finland. Not that they're offering me a trip or anything. Just saying. Do do do. Rachel, okay, the idea of traveling for food is highly relatable. Not the stupid viral places, but the places with food that you'll remember for the rest of your life. The one noodle. Okay, the one noodle. The thing with me when I travel is I try to do things that I can't do online. And some of that is food. Whether it's going to I love going to foreign grocery stores. Cuz that gives you more insight as to how the locals live without getting into their faces about it. Um like a lot of Americans, because we rely so much on cars, we tend to go to grocery stores and do a big haul and bring all that home in the trunk of our car, and it'll last us for a week, 2 weeks, whatever. But I have found that Parisians tend to just stop by their local marché and pick up stuff for like 1 or 2 days and just eat that. And so my husband and I would love to like pop our noses in like literally every little corner of marché and see what things that they had. And I love going to a foreign grocery store, and I love checking out local food. I love checking out Korean food everywhere I go to see how it changes from region to region, depending on adapting to the local tastes and local ingredient availability. You know who has really good Korean food? Poland. Uh, I had really bomb Korean food in Krakow. Yeah, so like I really like experiences that you can't get online, and some of that is shopping for local, like specific things. I'm not like going to like large chains, but things that were made in the particular country, that sort of thing. So Jackie says, I pin anything fun I come across on Google Maps. So when I finally go to a place, I already have all those pins on a map to plan. Same. I have almost 700 pins in Japan. I've been to a lot of them already, but I keep them up just so I have a marker of where I've been and where I would want to go. Sometimes I'll remember to go back and write notes like, don't go back here. Or it was fine. Like that like I write it was fine a lot, where it's like it was fine. I don't need to go back. If I go back I won't die. It was fine. Like there's a lot of those too. Rachel, why were you in the hospital? I'm sorry. That sucks. The recording's up. If you want to watch the recording, I think I should have made that free, available to the free tier also. If that's not the case, let me know and I'll correct it. Freddie, Rachel, we can meet in the next meetup. Life gets in the way sometimes. Gabrielle, the Apple sock. So much of fashion has turned into pure consumerism. It's depressing. I know. I just really want. Okay, I don't like Quentin Tarantino because some of the stuff he says publicly is so obnoxious. Uh, like I can't even imagine what he says in private. But a long time ago, he had announced that he was going to make 10 movies, and then that was it. And I kind of like that. I'm like, yeah, just like drop your 10 and get out. Like, whatever. Just, and I'm sure because he had decided that it was going to be just 10, like he put his all into making those 10 great, memorable, make his mark in cinema history, all that. And yeah, like he says a lot of horrible stuff, but do I love Pulp Fiction? Do I listen to the soundtrack to this day? Yes. So yeah, like make fashion on a musician's calendar. Make fashion on your average director, film director's calendar. Like just, I don't know why there just has to be so much stuff all the time. Just so much stuff. Rachel, oh, the Apple sock. The second I saw it, I laughed my ass off and sent screenshots to all my best friends. Yeah, they call it a pocket. It's like, boy, a pocket has to be attached to something for it to be a pocket. You made a purse. Get over yourself. You made a purse. Okay. And a Getty Center meetup, Japan 2027. Maybe. Gabrielle, a lot of long form content are subjects that can be explained in 3 minutes or less, but they keep talking to reach the minimum for monetization, like an essay before a recipe. Don't get me started on the essay before a recipe because, first of all, just hit the jump to recipe button. Okay, you don't have to read the essay. I even before I was friends with food content creators, I know that they write those stupid essays that they don't want to. Do you think they want to sit there and write those essays? And some of them are made up. Some of them are just like memories dragged from the dregs of hell. And like they do not want to be writing, most of them, these long stories just so that they're also fighting the algorithm. They're fighting with their elbows for their place on the algorithm by writing these long missives and adding photos of things that pertain nothing to do with the food, you know. I love a long description of a recipe. Like when I was first starting to learn how to bake sourdough, like I would read these really long blog posts where it was like photos of every step and like long paragraphs describing every step. I love those. But like not every food needs that. Okay? If you're throwing together a stir fry, it's like chop these things, put them in these order. Like, okay? But like a lot of these people, they do not want to write these stories. But they have to because they are fighting the algorithm so that they can make their money, they can make their ad dollars so they can pay their rent. And it's stupid. Okay? So if you don't want to read the essays, like just click jump to recipe. Like they all have the button. Like I tend to scroll because I want to see if they have any photos of the instruction. Like this is how you knead the bread, or this is how you braid this bread, or this is how you form the dough, or whatever. But like that's just another thing that people have to do for the freaking algorithm that I cannot stand. Okay, those of you who keep writing Chinese stuff in the comments, I can't read them because I'm not Chinese. So, yeah. Anna says Mexico, either Guanajuato or Guadalajara have leather shoemaking classes. Yes, but are they taught in English? Like, I am looking for classes taught in English because that, like, I could follow something in Korean, but that's about it. I know how to read Russian, but I only understand like a very small handful of Russian. I took Russian in high school. And I know a lot of food words in Spanish because I live in California and I eat so much Mexican food. Dude, a few days ago, Jackie says, a few days ago, I saw Christian Siriano does a 3-day design workshop. I find his designs boring though, so I'd rather rewatch 3 days of your videos. Oh, thank you. The just the one thing that I do like about Christian Siriano, even though I don't particularly care for his style, is that he's like the only one who has been and regularly dresses larger women. Like people really need to get on that bandwagon. People really need to get their act together about that. It's stupid. Maya Goya, the hanbok idea your dad suggested is great. Hanbok is beautiful and versatile. I think you're the perfect designer developed to be used by wider consumers. You want to know a secret? I kind of want to gatekeep Korean culture now because I'm so tired of white dudes who did a semester in Korea coming back to the US and mutilating our recipes and whitewashing them and giving it a white name and slapping it on the internet for white people to consume this really whitewashed version of a beautiful Korean dish and making so much money. Like, why does this guy have millions of followers when truly authentic Korean creators creating Korean dishes that are not significantly more difficult have so far fewer followers and money? Like, stealing money is literally the definition of cultural appropriation. That's the difference between appropriation and appreciation, is when you are literally taking money from these Korean food content creators so that you could use a different culture's recipes to make money. Okay, like that white lady who called herself the kanji queen, saying she was going to make kanji better. Like literally thousands of years of Chinese culinary history can be wiped by a white lady saying she's going to make kanji better and sell it for these ridiculous Erewhon style prices. That's cultural appropriation. And I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. I'm sick of how expensive ingredients that I used to be able to access all the time because white people discovered it. And I really need white people to appreciate not just Korean food, but just other people's cultural foods and then stop talking. Just eat it and stop talking and stop stealing and stop thinking that you can do it better. Just stop. Just stop. And so I'm in the phase right now where I don't want to share Korean stuff anymore because everyone from like K-pop demon hunters to K-dramas to music and people trying to explain to me Korean things. Do not explain to me Korean things unless you are a Korean person who is learned in this Korean subject. People post all this stuff on threads and things like, like random questions about Korean stuff. I'm like, no, I don't want to. You guys took my culture and twisted around and bastardized it and whitewashed it and just made a mess of it. And you guys travel to Korea and do weird stuff like take videos of random Korean men on the street and say, how come these guys don't look like K-pop stars? None of these guys look like BTS. Y'all are disgusting. People who do that are nasty folks. Okay, it doesn't matter what gender it is. Like anybody who goes over there and they think they're gonna meet the oppa of their dreams just because they watched a couple of K-dramas, it's like, I saw this, somebody posted on Reddit. This is the dumbest question. They're like, do Koreans really hook up with their bosses like they do on Korean dramas? I'm like, it's a TV show. Okay. America is famous around the world for having 101 cop shows where magical, empathetic, sympathetic, kind cops solve crimes. You think that happens really in the US? No. Okay, honey child, no. TV shows are fantasies in every country. Get a grip. Get a grip. Okay. Ugh. So, like, I do love it when people can just, like, I see content creators all the time, white people, black people, whatever. They just like, they're like, I'm gonna try this Korean food, and then they eat it and they like it or they don't like it, but they don't. They can say that they don't like it without pretending to throw up. Like, I don't mind that. I don't mind that. I don't like it when non-Korean people try to usurp that for themselves, to monetize for themselves. It's like, I was just literally talking about Allison Roman the other day. Okay. Who knows where she is anymore? Like, she went to Vietnam and she decided to come back to the US and make some watered down version of some Vietnamese noodles and call it some weird white name. And it was such an uproar because, first of all, it tasted disgusting. And second of all, like, where is she now? I don't know. She's not doing anything special. Rachel, I'd heard about the racism in Italy, but I didn't realize it was so bad. That sucks. Rachel says the hospital trip was planned, non-life threatening stuff. Okay, that's good. It did extend several days longer than planned, but I'm absolutely going to watch the December meetup video. Well, I'm glad it's not life threatening. Sometimes you need to go to the hospital for some stuff. Jackie says Mangchi is my go-to for Korean recipes, though. Yeah, she's a Korean lady. So yeah, go learn Korean food from a Korean lady. I'm into it. My personal favorite is Hongyeong Longest. I think her recipes match my desired flavor profile better. Like, I just like the taste of her food better. Not that she's more authentic or anything. She's also a Korean lady. She has an American last name 'cause she married a white guy, but like, I like her flavors better than Mangchi's. But yeah, Mangchi gives like sweet mom, like Korean mom vibes, Ajuma vibes. And I love that she wears ridiculous hats all the time because that is relatable to me. Culture vulture. Freddie says culture vultures are a thing these days. Yeah. Anna says Taco Bell, Del Taco, most American Mexican restaurants, no Mexican dishes in Mexico contains cheddar cheese. Well, I live in California and I have lived in California since the 90s. So I actually have access to like Mexican food made by Mexican people. Like, I will eat a half dozen cabeza tacos. Now I'm fantasizing about cabeza tacos. But yeah. Although I will say that most people who eat at Taco Bell, they know it's not Mexican. Not everyone. But people in California, they know that it's not Mexican food. They know it's like it's like LaCroix water. It's got a whiff of Mexican food, but it's not actually Mexican food. Like, but yeah. Like, I get to live in LA where I have access to like Mexican supermarkets where they make like fresh salsas and pico de gallo and sell them in plastic tubs. And I was literally just there yesterday at Vallarta and I got the spiciest salsas and I got some tostadas. So I'm gonna eat that in lieu of getting cabeza tacos because it's supposed to rain all week here in LA. So no going out today this week. Gabrielle, do they even know how to appreciate? There's a question. Maya Goya, what does money mean to you? That is a very loaded question. And I think I've answered that kind of as indirectly as possible in this video already. That I could have done a lot of things for a lot more money, and I could have a lot more money now if I was willing to do things that were against my beliefs, like constantly sell stuff. Like, YouTube Shopping has contacted me and they want me to tag all my videos with different products so that like they can post links in all my videos to where you can buy all this stuff. Like I'm a teacher before anything. And if I do a product recommendation video, like I made a video where I went over my pattern making tools, it's to go over the essence of the tool and what it does in the pattern making process and not. I teamed up with Fiskars to bring you these half-ass scissors, and I don't really know much about Fiskars scissors, okay? My fabric scissors of choice are Kai scissors, but whatever. Rachel, I try to only use recipes from other cultures if they come from people of the same culture. It brings a tiny bit more traffic to people who deserve it, and the recipes are usually better to lol. Okay. Yeah, I like that is also my choice. Like for Middle Eastern food, I like Amira's Pantry. And for Thai food, Hot Thai Kitchen, I met the creator of Hot Thai Kitchen at a YouTube conference once, and she is just the kindest, sweetest, nicest person. And all her food looks fire. And I love when she does videos where she goes over ingredients. Like if you want to buy a curry paste, like she does videos where she does blind taste tests on curry paste. She does videos where she goes to the store and talks about different ingredients, common ingredients that go into Thai cooking. And she lives in Canada. Uh, and so for the US viewership, it's like a little bit different, but there's like a lot of overlap on product availability, Canada and US. But yeah, she is great for Thai food. Walk of Life is written by a crew of Chinese folks. And yeah, for Korean food, I love Songyong Longest, Mang Chi, and Eric Kim. Like he's the only food writer at the New York Times that I follow. I don't really follow him. I saw a couple of recipes of his online and I just went ahead and bought his book. And he grew up in Georgia. He's a Korean man who grew up in Georgia, I believe, but definitely in the US. And so he has some more American takes on Korean food, but I actually enjoy it when people from a culture play with fusion because like when they try to fuse their cultures, the cultures that they are the most familiar with, because they have a deeper understanding of what the ingredients are capable of and also the intentions of a dish, instead of somebody just kind of like making things blander. Like one of the big whitewashing movements in Korean restaurants in the US was to make everything blander. Because the thing with Korean food is it's all meant to be eaten with rice. I mean, obviously, other than noodles, but even like things like kimchi, they're made to like all these panchans, they're made to be eaten with rice. And so things are meant to be salty because you're supposed to eat them with rice. But the rise in popularity of Korean food in the US came up at the same time as Atkins. If you remember the Atkins diet, everyone had decided they were going to go without bread and rice, like anti-carb. That's kind of where that started in the early 2000s, late 90s. And so everyone decided, oh, Korean is a cuisine that I can enjoy without eating carbs, because they would eat all the panchan. They would eat these salty freaking stews and soups and and kimchis and everything without rice, thinking the rice was optional. It's not. It's to balance your palate and the flavors. And then they would complain on Yelp, oh, this place's food is so salty. It's like it's supposed to be because you're supposed to eat it with rice. Don't blame us when you get full on 된장찌개 and your face is super puffy the next morning because you just had a week's worth of sodium without a buffer. Like you're not supposed to eat that much salt because you're supposed to eat it with rice, and the rice stops you from eating so much freaking 된장 in one sitting. Like one time, a friend of mine was like, what's the biggest difference between Americanized and un-Americanized Korean food? And I said, pungency. Like Korean food is pungent. It smells. I think it smells good, but whatever. The point is, when Korean food is not Americanized, they know that the person is going to do the correct thing and eat it with rice. And so they don't need to blandify it. So, like, but when it's like a Korean person who's been living in the US, like even like Korean people who have not spent a significant time in the US try to do like Korean American fusion, it doesn't work out as well as someone who grew up Korean in America, who understands the two cultures. It's really about understanding the two cultures that they're trying to fuse together, that really make it special. Yeah. Jackie, as someone who traveled a lot and enjoyed lots of food in their place of origin, most of those foods are kind of ruined from sources outside those countries. So I try to cook them sort of authentically, I guess. Just talking about Poland before, I'm like kind of now craving galanka, the pork knuckle. Anna says, I'd like to try authentic Korean food. Is there a good place in LA? There are a lot of good places in LA. And what you're looking for is the place where it's a bunch of old Korean people. Okay. When you have a bunch of just, and I'm talking like, I was at the Koreatown Galleria Mall the other day. That's the one on Olympic and Western. Not Koreatown Plaza, which is further north, but the Galleria on Olympic and Western. And I'd been there before, but I'd never been to their food court. And I went to their food court, and it's all old people. There are hardly any families. And like, I would go there. I would go to supermarket food courts where it's just old people, because they don't care about TikTok. They don't care about brand deals. They don't care about ROK doing partnerships with Lasong to give you, like, help you cut the matcha line at ROK if you go get a sundubu at Lasong. Like, they don't care about none of that. They're just like, is the food good? Is it not cost an arm and a leg? Okay, let's go eat it. Like, go look for the place that's like really filled with like either older families or just like straight up 할머니es and 할아버지s, like old people. T, happy holidays, Zoe. Happy holidays. Vallarta's is good. T says Kai is a shit. Yeah, those scissors, they so smooth. T says, I thought Ginger was the best until I slipped my hands into the handles of a kite. The handles do so much. Like, people talk about the blades. No, it's the handles. Because if you're going to be cutting for a long time, you want your hand to feel comfortable. And the jingers, whatever, however you want to pronounce it. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I have a pair of those from my fashion school days. I can't use them for very long because the handles are not comfortable. Make me crazy. Maya Goya, we need more real people on YouTube like you, and your content is great. Thank you. Samudra, is there any cuisine you are yet to try? I have not had enough Caribbean food. I've had some. I've had Jamaican beef patties. I guess I've only had Jamaican food because my bestie, he used to have a food truck up in Oakland, and he used to do all those food truck events where like there's a bunch of food trucks in a courtyard and blah blah blah. And sometimes when he had staffing issues, he would call me and ask me to run the cash register for him. So I would go there, and those guys who run those food trucks, they're all kind of tired of their own food, and so they do these food swaps, right? And my friend was friends with the guy who did the Jamaican food truck, and he would bring over a plate of oxtails for me in exchange for my friend's food. So I've had a lot of Jamaican oxtail. It's so good. But every time, like, there's this place that I hear in LA does really good doubles. I love a chickpea. I love a chickpea moment. So I definitely want to go try more Caribbean food from different countries. So that's kind of next on my to try list. Uh, Freddie, I have three pair of Kai scissors. They are Japanese scissors that are the most badass scissors on the planet. They are really nice. And I have the really long ones so I can do like clean, long strokes. Mm, they cut like butter. Serena, yay, hi, hello. Maya Goya says, I think national recipes are best introduced by people who ate it at home from childhood. I mean, I don't know about childhood, but a long time. Like some people who like, learned it from their grandma, Jackie. But why read the manual even with food? I don't know what that means. Serena says, what do you think of mixing my Incan heritage and modern style for apparel, bag, and accessories? I've opened my business, Incan Stitches, but I am afraid of selling. Any tips? I mean, if you are comfortable sharing your heritage with people, yeah, go do it. That's, just because I don't want to share my heritage anymore doesn't mean people should follow what I'm doing. Like if you want to do it, yeah. I think that there's so much Korean stuff out there that's why I don't feel comfortable sharing it anymore. Whereas before Hallyu Wave, like I was more ready to share more. Um, and I think maybe Incan heritage is something people should know more about. And so, yeah, you can do that. I think that my selling tip would be every brand needs a story. Okay, let's get back to talking about fashion. Every brand needs a story, and your branding, some of your design, and your packaging, your PR, all of that should come from your brand story and what you want to convey to the world. What parts of Incan heritage do you want to share? Why is it important to you that other people know it? What is the story of the Incans that you want to share? Like, what aspect of it? What design motifs are integral to your heritage that you want to share with others? Where it came from, how it was developed, how you've incorporated it, how you've modernized it, your connection to these roots, because people are culturally more sensitive to these things than ever, and they want to know that they're buying Incan things from people with Incan heritage. And I think that crafting a beautiful brand story is your first step, and that can help you with your PR, your social media approach, your advertising approach, and even your design work. And that's why in my book I always talk about building the framework of your brand DNA, like, because it really helps you make all these other decisions afterwards. It's like, okay, let's work with this framework, this story that I want to share with the world, and what is going to help tell the story and what isn't. And literally every successful brand in the world has this story. They have a customer that they're trying to target. There's a story that they're trying to tell. There is a legacy that they are trying to perpetuate, especially some of these older like couture houses. Um, and so I would suggest spending some quiet time developing your brand story and making those elements integral to your website, sharing your brand story on your website. And when you've kind of fleshed out your brand story, you can pull some snippets, some little quotes that you can share, some smaller tidbits that encapsulizes like what you're feeling, and your intentions, and also kind of that can be part of like kind of like taglines for your for your product and your website and your brand story, things that you can include in like social media bios, things that you can include in your captions, things that you can add, and like all these things. Rachel, I'm going to get myself a new pair of sewing scissors for Christmas. Sounds like I got to check out Kai Scissors. Yes, you do. Lori is also on the Kai train. Gabrielle, I was going to say Caribbean and you said it. Woohoo. Yeah, no, I love spicy flavors mixed in. Like, I, I'm not one of those people who do these like spicy hot sauce challenges like in my regular living. I like spicy food that's it's part of the flavors. It's not like, oh, let's try this spicy and see if you could tolerate it. It's like, no, it's like the spice has to be part of the flavor profile. It has to be delicious, and the spiciness is part of the deliciousness and not, oh, it's spicy. Like, I don't care about that. Jackie says, go for it. Lori says, I have my original jingers from 85. Haha, they still work. Yeah, I still have my fashion school scissors from the 90s. It's just, I don't like the handles very much. But I use them for like smaller things when I'm like, because they have much shorter blades also. So I have times when I use those specifically. Fiskars are okay, but like she said, get the pair comfortable in your hands. I am a scissor hoarder, got like 20 brands. Dang. I mean, in terms of hands, yeah, like the bigger the scissors are, the better they're going to feel in your hands. Because I have small hands for adults, but compared to scissors, like, because you want to get your fingers in there. Yeah. Maya Goya, would a brand story change over time? And if yes, to which extent? I mean, it can evolve, but the brand story is supposed to be like something that is really true and quintessential to who you are as the brand founder. And something like that can evolve, but wouldn't change without something drastically happening. And if something drastic were to happen, like you would need a complete rebrand in order to not confuse your customer. Or, I mean, you might, like, I always use the J. Crew example because J. Crew is not a brand people love as much anymore. Like, J. Crew steadily grew, steadily grew. Like, I remember ordering mail order catalog J. Crew in the 90s. And they grew and they grew. And then they hit a point where they were so popular. And like Michelle Obama was wearing it when she was in the White House, and people love her. And so people were buying a lot more J. Crew. And then J. Crew decided that they were going to have a high fashion moment. And they started making more and more expensive things, like bejeweled cashmere sweaters for $800, which is not J. Crew. Okay. J. Crew is preppy. They're basics. They're well made for their price point, but bejeweled cashmere sweaters for $800 is not why the J. Crew customer was shopping there. So they got kind of big for their britches and kind of went off the deep end and tried to do runway, try to do high fashion, and it didn't work. It didn't evolve in a beautiful way. They just went skirt skirt and they confused their customer, and a lot of people abandoned ship. Part of that was J. Crew was really slow to onboard in online shopping because Mickey Drexler didn't think that online shopping had a future, which was probably the dumbest thing that he's ever said in his life. Like, he's had a brilliant career, but that was probably the biggest mistake he's ever made in his whole life. And so, yeah, those two things hand in hand. Like, if you're a mail order catalog in your origins, your whole thing was trying to reach people who couldn't reach your stores. Why wouldn't you embrace online shopping? Like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So, in those two ways, abandoning your price point and your product category and abandoning like the method, like your reach, they really abandoned their brand story. It confused their customers and they've had to rebuild. And right now, I think it's Madewell that's keeping them afloat, and that and Factory. Both both Banana Republic and J. Crew, who are competitions for each other, they are being held afloat by their factory labels, which are their the stuff that they sell at the outlets. Because in outlets nowadays, it's not just cast off stuff that they didn't sell the previous season. A lot of brands are making lower quality stuff with their brand label expressly to fill outlet stores. Banana is one of them. That's their factory label. J. Crew is one of them. There's other ones too, but let's not try to get sued today, okay? Rachel, to Serena, ink and artwork and aesthetics are incredible. From a design perspective, that's an amazing cultural heritage. Serena, oh, how lovely. Thank you so much for your feedback. Serena says, thanks everyone for your positive comments. Yeah, girl, there are a lot of different cultures out there that should be exposed to more people so that people can appreciate them. Good luck with everything. I have literally been talking for 110 minutes. How did we even get here? Hello. I was supposed to do other things today. I mean, at home, because I don't know if y'all heard. If you're in SoCal, if you're in California at all, and if you haven't heard the weather reports lately, you need to turn on the news or whatever you go to for the news, because parts of Northern California have already flooded. Redding is flooded like crazy. It's raining all over the northern half of the state. In terms of SoCal, the rains are going to start today in like Altadena, the northern parts of SoCal. And we're supposed to get rain in like the central areas of the city tomorrow. So rain is coming, which it doesn't sound ominous unless you're a Californian who is not used to rain. So yeah, thank you for staying with me for almost 2 hours. Oh my God. Should I do live streams on Patreon? I do enjoy the occasional live stream. Maybe I'll do like once a month live stream on Patreon, not a weekly one. That would be separate from the Zoom meetup. Maybe I'll do that. Like for the free tier, I'll do a live stream. So Freddie says, thanks for the live stream. Is there a cheap progressive part of California to live in terms of rent? Yeah, cheap and progressive. There are cheap parts of California, but not progressive. That combination is hard. I think in terms of urban areas, out of the Bay, LA, and San Diego, I think San Diego is your best bet. Although I think San Diego is the most conservative out of those three. Orange County is pretty conservative. But, we are gerrymandered to crazy for a couple of years because we were fighting Texas gerrymandering. So there's that. I don't know. But that will require research because the combination is hard. Good luck. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have an amazing Tuesday. Stay dry out there if you're Californian and everywhere else and all those good things. Next week is going to be the last live stream I do here. It will be an AMA, so come prepared with your questions. Have a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Do, 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 do.